exciting. And we started that company, there were only 4 of us. We started designing, manufacturing, selling, installing, and servicing intercoms for apartments, for houses, etc., etc. A few years later, we got involved in fire alarm systems. The company grew to a certain level, to the point that where our competitor bought us out, a company known as Edwards, in 1989, 26 years later than when we started. Our company got a certain level, and the competitor bought us out. They wanted me to go and work for them. I said, no, I'm not a good worker, because I have my own ideas. I want to work on my own. As a result, they wanted to have 5 years non-compete with me, so I couldn't bother their business. I said, no, the most I give you is 3 years. We agreed on that. So from 89 to 92, I became a distributor. In other words, passive. I was not a manufacturer, I was not a designer, but I was still in the business somehow, buying products from the US and selling them in Canada. The 3 years went by. In 1992, my non-compete expired. I said, you know what? I'm going to start back in the manufacturing of fire alarm and communication products. So this company, as you see it today, started in 1992. At that time, there were 2 of us, then became 3, and so on and so forth. Now, 25 years later, 26 actually now, we employ in around 600 or thereabouts. We export in many countries around the world, and you see what we're doing. Now, you're all at the university, right? You have a lot of choices, but you also got to have your own ideas of what you want to do. You stay where you are, you've got probably the majority of you are going to be working in manufacturing or a similar place at the back. If you go proceed with your schooling education and you listen to the teachers and your superiors and your parents, then you're going to end up being like Jason. You know, he's an engineer, he's got a master's degree, pretty soon a PhD, or you got it already. Whatever.
Yeah, still working on it.
Close enough. And you obviously will create things of your own. You become your own person, either working for somebody else, but let's face it, when you have a certain education and certain know-how, you're in charge of yourself. You can do whatever you want. We have Mercom in here. As I was telling you, 2 people started. I never give up. I says, you know what? If you have certain ideas, you believe in what you want to do, it can be done. I proved it here in a very small scale. Hey, we're not the largest company in the world, don't get me wrong, but if you look at 25, 26 years span, we've got to be proud of ourselves. It's not just me, obviously. There is a lot of people in here, which they all contribute in their own ways, but it can be done. And this is only the beginning. You give this company another 50, 75 years to get to about 100 years old, and we're going to be a huge force in the marketplace, not just in Canada, but worldwide, including Italy. Because eventually, at some point in time, I want to go to Italy and have a company like this. But you guys have been very quiet, so I'd like to hear from you. What is the? Ask me some questions. Well, even in Italian if you want to. But I think you should stick to English, because I know the only reason why you are here, well, actually it's twofold. You can hear to do better in your English. You're here to look at new city and new country, new opportunities, and perhaps in some cases you have some relatives in here, I'm sure. Because here in Toronto, we have 90,000 Calabrese in here. So actually, Toronto is bigger than Cosenza. No, it's the truth. 90,000 Calabrese in Toronto.
I have over 200 relatives here.
Wow.
There you go. So, okay, for all of you, is the first time here, or you were here before?
First time for everyone.
So, okay, tell me how you like Toronto. Is it as good or as bad as you were, you were thinking about it, or is it?
I'm sure it's much warmer. It's definitely warmer than people expected, yeah?
Well, weather-wise, it's been okay. How long you been here? A couple of weeks, 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Third week, so you had good weather.
Smart group, they probably looked ahead on weather.com.
You can hear, did you go and see Jovinko? This year you don't play good, this year is terrible. Last year it was excellent, this year, forget it. You should go back to, I don't know, whatever, some other place. But anyway, so go back to Toronto, what do you like about Toronto?
Something.
Non lo so in inglese.
No, English.
Multicultural. That's
Multicultural,
very-
yeah.
It's very interesting how different cultures can live together and maybe share
L'abitudine. That's what the good thing about Canada. We've been promoting multiculturalism. The rest of the world should learn how Toronto and its people and their people will learn how to live with each other. No problem. Whether you're Greek, Italian, Chinese, Indian, whatever. We all get together and we're happy. We're celebrating all the time. Because every culture brings something to the table. We can learn from whoever comes on. If you look at a positive, there are negatives, no two ways about it. But you always gotta look at the half full glass, not half empty. And if you look at the positive side, you can learn from anybody. So I hope you learn something from traveling in Canada in general, in Toronto, and today, in Mercom, you learn something, no?
Yeah.
So you see actually a company in this small scale, but this is a complete company, whereby we do the design, we do the manufacturing, we do the selling, the installation in some cases, or certainly the connections of the products, and the service, long term. So we're complete. In a small scale, but it's a complete company. So any questions for me before I turn it over to my buddy Mike?
Done. Any questions?
At the University of Cosenza, you guys, what field you're in? What do you study?
Management engineering. Right.
Mathematician. Yeah.
Management.
Oh, management.
Gestionale.
engineering, yeah.
Ingegneria gestione.
Is there engineering in there too?
Yes.
So who's the engineering class?
All
One,
the-
two, three.
All Italian. All the Italian students.
Oh, okay. Engineers usually are very smart, but very quiet. Sales guys are the opposite. They like to talk a lot. Some of them are very smart too, but usually. How about the girls? Okay, management, what about you?
I study business management.
Business management, same as her.
It's management engineering.
Engineering.
Oh, engineering man, oh, beautiful. So you're gonna be a good engineer. Electronic or mechanical?
No, it's management, so it's.
It's like industrial engineering.
Yeah.
Engineering here in
Yeah.
North America.
I see. And you, where are you learning?
I'm also learning business management, but major finance.
Oh, so you're the numbers person, money.
Money.
Okay. And you?
Management engineering.
Management engineering. And you? Oh, you told me you're an engineer. How about you?
Me too.
We're all engineers. Okay, so guys, when you graduate, you can come over here. We got a lot of young people. See, that's the beauty of Canada. Usually, the students in the university, they've been hired by companies before they even graduate. presents, unfortunately, you graduate and don't find necessarily a job in the vicinity. You have to go whatever. But even in other parts of Italy, I understand it's not so easy to find a job.
Abroad.
Well, that's where, like, but slowly, a little bit at a time, and you find your way. But worst case, come to Canada. Plenty of jobs in Canada.